Greetings, and welcome to Cyber Focus, your source for international business information. My name is Rose Mason, and our guest today is Sanda Nguyen. Sanda is the Project Country Director in Myanmar under the ADEPT Global Development Alliance, which is a public-private partnership with the Kelley School of Business, funded by USAID, and in collaboration with partners such as Hewlett-Packard, the Lotus Impact Fund, and Business for Social Responsibility. Sanda has a Bachelor of Science in Economics and Finance from the University of London and a Diploma in Electronics, Computer, and Communications Engineering from Nanyang Polytechnic in Singapore. She is fluent in English and Myanmar, in addition to holding a French language certificate. She has worked for multinational corporations in Singapore and Myanmar, where her competency in both IT and verbal bilingual skills has given her a competitive edge. Sanda, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how having a multicultural background has affected your career?
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Sanda, and as Rose said, I'm the country director for the ADEPT program. Actually, when you say multicultural background, I have been to many countries due to my father because he's a diplomat, and I've been staying in countries like Russia and Hong Kong for about 3 to 4 years in each country. And my father always make it a point for us to study in the local schools. So I've been to kindergarten in Russia, and I have studied primary and my first secondary one in Hong Kong. So because of this kind of exposure, and and apart from that, whenever we come back to our own country, we also study the local schools. So because of this kind of experience, whenever I go to different companies, I have a certain advantage over any other person of my same race. So the example would be when I was working in Singapore as a design engineer, people will see me as not as a Myanmar. They think that I'm a part of them because of the multi background that I have. So I'm able to mingle with them, and they wouldn't think that I'm an outsider, or like they would think that I'm part of them, because we have other Myanmar national engineers, and they think that why is he working in this way? Because for this particular person, it's not his fault because he's doing as per his usual practice, but for them, they see it as something different. So having this kind of multicultural background gave me this advantage of being able to mingle in anywhere, in any sort of environment.
Oh, wow, thank you. That's a really helpful background to have.
Yes.
Wow. So is there anything you can say about the importance of exposing yourself to multiple cultural experiences in an increasingly global marketplace?
Well, if you're exposed to multicultural environment all the time, what happens is that you can easily able to understand how does a company works, how you should adapt into the company's culture. Because, like example, working in Singapore versus working in Myanmar, it's a total different experience. Because working in Singapore, well, people there are more job-oriented, work-oriented. They want to finish their work, and they don't care who you are. They just want to get the things done and all that. But back in Myanmar, it's different because it's very much based on relationship. Like even if you are the superior of these people, they wouldn't want to work for you if you don't really develop that relationship with them. So you would need to have, be it a superior or a junior, you still need to have develop this relationship before you can make them work for you. But in like Singapore, you don't care. I mean, if you're there, your juniors are supposed to work for you, and your superior expect you to work for them. So it's kind of so different. So having this kind of being exposed to different environment helps you to easily understand how each different environment works. And usually it's always easier to adapt quickly.
Wow, there's definitely a big difference in those two environments.
Yes.
Something you have to learn pretty quickly, I bet. Could you tell us about a time when your diplomacy and negotiation skills enabled you to achieve a favorable result in a difficult time?
Well, I would say that because understanding how different environment work, how different companies work, helps you to understand how you should tackle a certain problem. Like example, in my ex-job before this job, I was in this company where the client is the multinational company, and the company that I was working for, it's a local company. And because a lot of Myanmar local companies are working for, they're working for that particular multinational company, and because most of the companies, they don't understand how does a multinational company works. So one example would be is that the multinational company was having a delay payment. They were having some problem with the payment, and a lot of the local companies couldn't understand why there was a delay in payment. Actually, the delay in payment was due to the bank, because Myanmar is just picking up, and there was a bit of a trouble with banking problems. So when they do money transfer, they couldn't get it straight. It's not so straightforward. They have to do extra paperwork, and this particular company, they want to pay, but they couldn't because the money is being held up by the bank somewhere. And although they try to explain to the local companies, they couldn't understand, and they make a lot of fuss about it. What I did was that I was trying to find out whether this is purposely they delayed it on purpose, or whether is there a problem. And because I know how the multinational companies hierarchy work and all that, so I try to talk to each level. Try to talk to the director, try to talk to the mid-level management, to the lower management, even to the ground staff, and to find out what exactly is going on and all that. So ultimately, I talked to the director and explained to him what happened, and why we need this money from you urgently and all that. So instead of giving them pressure, I try to be more, more gentle.
Okay.
Try to be more gentle with them. So end up, we get around, if I'm not wrong, we get about $1 million payment out of the 1.5 million payment that was due. And that was the largest payment that we get for the local companies, because other companies who have more, who are supposed to receive more payment from them, didn't receive that much of money, because the company director was so angry, because that, I'm trying to tell you my problem, but you're not understanding my problem. You keep on giving me a lot of fuss and giving me a lot of problems. So, instead of since you're giving me so much problem, I don't want to bother you first. And because I try to understand his problem, and I also try to tell him our problem, and has this mutual understanding. And from there, we understood that we were the only company that received that much of money for that particular time. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. That was very insightful, very entertaining, enthusiastic story. Finally, what advice would you give to Americans who want to do business in Southeast Asia?
Well, for Southeast Asian countries, I think that relationship means a lot. So, if you're in good terms with this person, they will try to go the extra mile to do something for you. And then, of course, you should know the culture of how a particular culture would work. Like example, in Myanmar, hierarchy say a lot of things. So if you meet an older person, but maybe his position is also maybe not that high, but still you need to give that respect because of his age and all that. And of course, having the local contact is very important, because usually a lot of times I feel that only the locals know what the locals would think and the local culture and all that. No matter how much you try to stay in a country, I stayed in Singapore for 11 years, but I'm not a Singaporean. Mm-hmm. I will never be a Singaporean because I was not born there, I was not brought up there. Mm-hmm. So you will still be a so-called a foreigner to them. So so you wouldn't know exactly how the culture is working and all that. So countries like Myanmar, which is developing, so and it was not exposed to outsider before. So I think that having a local contact, or maybe having a local contact that could work for you, would be the best choice, because they could give you very good advices, and they could point out to you things that you should watch out for, which you wouldn't know that it was there.
Well, thanks. That's some very insightful advice there. Well, Sanda, just want to thank you for speaking with us today. And thank you to ADEPT Global Development Alliance for bringing Sanda to campus. That's all for this edition of Cyber Focus. If you have any comments or suggestions for future topics, please contact us at ciber@indiana.edu.